This is my story, my testimony. I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm just going to speak with what comes to my heart as I've done recently, telling other people it. But I grew up in the church. I grew up going to church. I was involved. I did everything you could do to say that you're a good Christian. So from the outside, when people hear me now talk about how I'm in the faith, there's some even family members and people that are like, you were in you've always been in church. But I was in church, but my mind and my soul were elsewhere. I was stuck in the world. And so I went to church, and I played Christian as I grew up. And that's why I played it off. But I was not in my Bible at all, and I have read more in this year than I have read in my entire life. I used to go because my parents went, and they brought me along, and I'm sure there's plenty of seeds that were planted that are starting to finally take root now. But as I went on to college and after college, I drifted so far away from what faith I had at that time that I didn't even know who I was. I was a shell of myself. Looking at the music I used to listen to back then, I was definitely depressed. And that continued on. And at that point, after college, I didn't use my degree. I had no passion for it. It was an arts degree, which you can make comments on that yourself. But I had no creativity because there was nothing in here to push me. There was no creative burst. I was not. I would say I was just a zombie, just a body walking around at that time because I had no empathy for myself or others. And so I went and I just continued. I was focusing on money because I wanted to pay off that bill. But yet in that time I was trying to fill this void that was inside me, and I was spending the money. So I'd spend it as quick as I got it between paying off bills and messing around, and I was just paying off the interest. I was not paying off principal, so there was just this anxiety because the debt was not going anywhere. And then this time I racked up credit card debt that I'm still digging out of. But yet I have now faith in God, and He's given me abilities to pay that off. But I'll talk about that later. But um, and then I was working, and then I met this girl, and she went to church, and so I went to church because I was trying to do what she did. I wanted to do what she did, and I thought that I needed to go back to a church, which is true. And now more than ever, I realize that was a great decision I made. But when I went in there, I was trying to play Christian, just as I did when I was younger, and it just wasn't there. Like I couldn't remember things. Like she's a very solid Christian, but like I couldn't keep up with her. Like I was trying so hard to keep up with her level that I just couldn't get there because there was nothing to pull from. My roots that I'd planted when I was young was like they were just not there. Like I did not grow my faith when I was younger because I was not attempting to be faithful. I was selfish. I was self-centered. I was in the world. I was not rooted in God. So the roots were worldly and they were thin. And so we had this relationship, and it went on for a while. And I tried to play at God. I tried to play at being a Christian, not play at God. And it didn't work. And it just brought about a lot of depression and anxiety because I knew I wasn't good enough because I was of the world. And you're never going to be good enough if you're of the world. And so I got to the point where it was so bad that I was throwing up and from the anxiety because of things that were happening in the relationship. And I lost 15 pounds. And just the relationship was going bad. This went on for months. And then I went on vacation. And this was a hiking vacation, which is something I love a lot. I love to hike. And so this whole week, it just sucked because I was depressed and I just hated it because I knew the relationship was deteriorating at a rapid pace. And I went through the motions on the hike. They were amazing hikes, but I couldn't enjoy it. But then the last day, something called me to bring my Bible up on this hike that I did by myself, up onto an outcropping. That is a little bit of a challenge to get to, but I got up there and I didn't know what to read. So I thought, with what little knowledge I had in my head and that was left, I was like, I'm going to read the Sermon on the Mount, because Mount, that's pretty one-to-one. It goes together. So I read that, and I prayed between each time. And let me tell you, on that third time, it felt like a blanket of peace and anxiety came from me. I prayed that God would take that anxiety, and he met me on that hill. And I will never forget that moment, because when I opened my eyes on after that third prayer, the whole entirety of the hills and just everything around me did not feel real. He met me on that hill, and he took my peace, he took my anxiety and my depression and everything else that I can name in that time, and he filled me with, I'm just sure that it was the Holy Spirit, and just filled me with peace. And none of it felt real. Like, I felt like it did not feel real. Like, the mountains felt fake. I could look up and down and they just didn't feel real. And just, there was a bird, and the bird was just this magical, I was just watching it go from side to side. And it was just this amazing just time with God that I'll never forget. And I've just never felt that again. But I don't need to feel that, because he gave me that moment in that time, and I won't forget it. And I came off that mountain knowing that something had changed. And then I went and heard a sermon from our great pastor, Pastor Tom. And he grabbed my heart. And if I didn't give my heart on the mountain, and I still can't exactly dictate between the two, I said it physically. I said the prayer that they say constantly at our church, and I gave my life to God on that Sunday, and I openly said who my Lord and Savior was, and that Jesus had died for me to be forgiven of my sins, and that I was to follow him. And I was baptized a month later, and things were better. But the relationship, it still continued, and it was still bad. And that went on for a little bit longer. But towards the beginning of this year, it went away. And it was looking back now, it was for the best for both of us. And I was just, after that, I felt empty. I still had so much focus, even in this time after I'd given to God, on this relationship, and it would become somewhat of an idol to me. And so the removal of that, I'd put a lot of my goals in what that relationship could become. And now my goals shifted back to what can well, no, let me say this. I asked God, I was laying in my bed, just in my weeping, just in my full of emotion, and I asked God, why am I here? Why do you still have me here? And I just asked God to do something with me, because I didn't want to do anything with myself at that time. And let me tell you, since then, this entire year, he has just done so much for me. This is by far the best year in my life. He has opened me up, especially even in this last 3 to 4 months. He's brought me religious friends. He's brought me groups that I can be a part of. He's pushed me to lead groups. He's pushing me to lead more groups. There's going to be a coffee shop group that I need to figure out, but he's gonna provide much of that to me, and he's gonna make that go. He's provided these young adult groups that have given me people to just be with and to grow with, and there's just so much stuff. My schedule is no longer my own. My schedule is God's schedule. And I think back on, I think it's John 3:13 or something close to it. I must become less, he must become more. And my life has just become the epitome of that, because he controls my entire schedule. But I worry not about that because he can have my schedule. I care not for it. Everything that he has brought into my life has made my life astronomically more filled. My cup is full. He has brought me a life that I could have prayed for, but this is not where I thought I would be. He has guided. I may have decided my paths by joining different things, but he has guided my steps along the way. He has called me out of my shell, out of my introvertedness into extrovertedness. And now I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know what this brings. This YouTube channel has been a blessing to me. YouTube, Instagram, both. Just even though it's, to some, the 141 subscribers or however many it is here may seem like a small number, but I appreciate, and it is surprising that I even have that many to me. And just the views that keep coming in, that people that want to listen to what he has to say through me, I'm grateful for. And I could have never imagined where God would have brought me out of and allowed me to be in this position of just constantly being filled up through the week and being able to have these experiences and just have these interactions with people and just be able to talk Bible and just be able to read my Bible and grow in my faith and put all these sticky notes on my wall that you guys can't see, but I can. And maybe I can flip it, but we'll just go. There's just so many sticky notes on my wall up. That wasn't too fast. Hopefully nobody got sick. But God has done abundantly for me so much, and I feel like I'm just getting started. And if you made it this far and you have not given your life to God, I don't know what you're waiting for, because this is the greatest roller coaster I've ever been on. I don't even ride roller coasters, but you get what I'm saying. But God has just created this seed, this fire inside of me that I don't know, but I know there's something that he wants me to do. And I don't know what it is yet. And I'm not trying to plan in the head and the future. But I'm just taking it one step at a time. What he throws at me, what he gives me, what he allows in my life. And I'm going to run and see what that is. I'm going to run to it. I'm going to run away from my earthly stuff, because I'm still taking out a few bumps. I'm going to run from that, and I'm going to run to him. And I implore any of you, if you have not ever tried to run at him, just search for him. Search for his heart, just as David did. And just allow him to work great in your life. Allow him to affect the people in your life. Allow him to make you the brightest light in your area. Make a dent where you are. Allow him to just come to you. But just to close to this, God has done so much for me already. And he's preparing me for something. I don't know what it is. But I'll quit repeating. But I must become less, and he must become more. It's how I live my life. And I am grateful for that. Every day that I wake up, I'm grateful for that. But that's what I have. If you made it this far, I thank you for listening. And if nobody makes it this far, I still got it off my chest. And I expressed how God has just done so much in me. And I thank you for listening. And hope everybody stays well and be blessed.